And I didn't do it by setting goals. Instead, I followed Tony Robbins' advice. Anytime you want to make a change, the first thing you should do is raise your standards. Raising these 4 standards has helped me grow from 0 to over $10 million and has now helped also over 4,000 others grow their own business too. And if you've tried setting goals or even using vision boards that have failed to manifest, you have experienced this as well. Goals sound good, but they're not enough. Here's why. To truly get something different from what you've gotten, you've got to first change the biggest variable affecting the outcome, you. And the only way to do that is to raise your standards. Specifically in this case, raise your income standards. This single difference is why so many entrepreneurs struggle financially. A goal mindset says, I would like to charge X, but a standards mindset says, I don't sell my services for less than the value I provide. If this feels foreign to you right now, I say this with love. It's because your money standards are too low. And I've been here too. That was me to a T when I first started, because I was raised in a typical Asian immigrant family where you're taught that wanting more money makes you greedy and selfish. So naturally, every time I thought about my pricing and what I wanted to charge, I would look in the mirror and think, Luisa Zhou, what are you thinking wanting to charge that much? How dare you? You can probably tell. I had a lot of inner work to do. But once I did, I realized something literally life-changing. No one is gonna give you permission to make what you want. So you have to decide what you will and won't accept. That might mean raising your prices because you refuse to take clients who don't respect your expertise, or not putting out band-aid offers just because you're afraid that people won't pay what you really want to charge. But to be clear, this is not just believe fluff, because once you set your standard, you do have to back it up. For example, maybe that means you only create offers that deliver greater value than the price you want to charge, that you would be personally excited to buy. And this is why raising your standards is so much more tangible and effective than just setting a goal. Because in doing so, you're becoming the kind of person who consistently does the things that get the results you want. Say that you decide your new income standard is $10,000 every single month from your business. Then the first shift you'll make is to become the kind of person who reliably brings in $10,000 every month. So how do you do that? By building the habits that someone making $10,000 per month has. For example, you post X times a week, you send X pitches, and you do X collaborations, which on average, bring in X sales calls, of which you convert Y. And as you grow your business, you do this anew at each new income level. The key is this: a true standard means that you don't put up with less than that being your default. You learn the skills and take the actions that make it inevitable, because that's who you've become. But let's also just call out the elephant in the room. What you make is just one piece of the puzzle. You've probably already experienced this. As you're building your business, it's so easy to get caught up checking your messages constantly, getting sucked into a doom scrolling session, or worrying about work while your husband is trying to tell you about his day. Sorry, Steven. But seriously, your business can take up all of your time if you're not careful, which is why it's so important that you raise your time standards as well. You decide what you will and won't allow. With your time, this shows up in 2 ways: how fast you expect yourself to get things done, and who gets your time. For number 1, it's all about raising the standards that you hold yourself to, like your own time commitments, even if it means not getting things perfect. This is the reason I'm now able to consistently create a piece of content in just 15 to 30 minutes, because I simply have to be done, which honestly is the only reason I've been able to stay consistent for the last 10 years without burning out. And just in case you're wondering, I am not naturally fast. So in the beginning, doing this felt terrifying. But the cost of not doing this, in my opinion, is even more terrifying. Now, a task that could have taken just 30 minutes is taking you 3 hours. Think about it like this: if you want slow, peaceful mornings and more time with your family, you're simply not going to let creating a single piece of content consume 5 hours of your day. This way, not only do you raise your standards for how you spend your time, but you also raise your standards for who you spend your time with. That's why my time is reserved for my family and friends, my clients, and my team. Mostly in that order. And by the way, as both a recovering perfectionist and people pleaser, this was a really tough shift because you want to do your best and help as many people as possible. But the reality is, you can't help anyone else if you're stressed out and burnt out. So high five to prioritizing your time first. But here's the tricky part about raising your standards that prevents most people from doing so. Unfortunately, nobody else cares about your standards. And I say this with love because they just care about theirs. But that's why raising your standards isn't just about the rules that you set for yourself. It's also about how you let other people interact with those rules. In other words, raising your people standards. You've probably heard that saying, people treat you how you allow them to treat you, right? In this context, it means being really picky about who you let into your business, including who you let pay you. Now, just so you know, when I started, I did not think this way. I didn't believe that I could afford to turn away anyone who wanted to pay me. So me from about 10 years ago would have gasped in horror at the way I handled this situation I'm about to share with you. Just a few weeks ago, I was speaking with someone who was interested in my private coaching. But instead of filling out the actual private coaching application and respecting my process, which is designed to actually be better for both of us, she decided to try and take a shortcut and book a call through a completely different offer. That was red flag number one. So I politely canceled the call and I told her, hey, based on everything you've shared with me, this is not the right offer for you. I'm gonna cancel this call because I'm not trying to just make any sale. If we're gonna do this together, let's do it right. She replied, oh, I was just using that to get a sense of who you are. Okay, feels a little off, right? But we'd already been chatting, so I said, no problem, I'll hold this time for you. Just fill out the application before our call so that I can review all the information and we can have a productive call on how I'm going to be able to help you. She ignores that, but responds almost immediately, hey, I actually can't do that time. Can you find me another one? Keep in mind, she had chosen this time, and this is a very organized person. Red flag number two. At that point, it was pretty obvious what was going on. She wanted to be in control, and that was more important to her than the relationship or the result we could achieve. So I told her, let's pause until you filled out the application. Then, once I have all your details, we can go from there. To which she responded, I'll pass. I'm looking for someone who's, and I'm paraphrasing, more available. Translation, someone who's willing to bend their standards for me. I just said, all good. Wishing you the very best. Now, me from years ago would have handled this totally differently. I would have bent over backwards to work around her. But from a lot of hard-earned experience, let me hopefully now save you some pain. A client who doesn't respect you, your time, or your expertise will always cost you way more than the sale. Plus, here's what usually seems to happen. After I released that energy, I felt so proud of myself for how far I'd come that I was inspired to write a really great email that brought in a dream client. It sounds kind of woo-woo, but this is legitimately what I see when you raise your people standards. And I'm talking not just your clients, but your team and your business partners too. When you surround yourself with people you actually like, who share your values, you're gonna grow more and faster and have more fun doing it. Plus, once you start raising your people standards, something funny happens. Because now you're feeling so energized by all your people, you start noticing all the other things in your business that still drain your energy. Like that one system that's always breaking, that where did that file go panic, or the feeling that you're having to rebuild your business from scratch every month. But guess what? You get to raise your standards for that too, your support standards. Because, and get this, I have this crazy belief that your business should support you, not the other way around. In the beginning though, this can feel really overwhelming, especially since there are so many tools and workflows and automations available. But that's the thing. The reason that kind of thinking feels overwhelming is because it's still goal-oriented. It's got you focused on the what. With a standards mindset, you're focused on the who. You develop the skills to build the systems that creates a calm, reliable business. And as a former space station engineer who has now spent a decade building 7- and 8-figure systems, let me simplify it for you. Every online business runs on basically 3 systems. That's it. First, traffic. This is how your right people find you. These days, I have my blog, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and collaborations. But it doesn't matter where you start. All traffic sources work. The key is to make it consistently effective, you've got to turn it into a system. Something repeatable that brings new eyes to your business every single week without you having to reinvent the wheel. Second is sales. Once people discover you, they need a clear path to buy. What I do and recommend is setting up an automated email sequence. This introduces who you are, why you're the person to help your dream client, and why your offer is the thing to help them. Third, when someone buys from you, you've got the delivery system. Because the point isn't to personally hand deliver every product like you're showing up to their door in a FedEx uniform. It's to have your logistics, whether you're selling a service or a course, run so smoothly that you can focus on the things that you actually enjoy. By raising your standards in money, time, people, and support, you're already miles ahead of most entrepreneurs. The next step is making sure your brand reflects those standards, so people see you as the expert and leader you've become. That's why this next video walks you through how I built a $10 million personal brand despite being a super quiet, shy, nerdy introvert, and the specific strategies that are working right now. I'll see you over there.